Hi guys, welcome to our top 5 tips for newbie investors. I'm Corey Ashford from Threshold Sales and Lettings. Today I've got Morgan Roberts who's joining us. Morgan is a property investor in the South Wales area. Morgan's here to give us 5 top tips today, like I said, for newbie investors. Morgan, thanks for joining us, thanks for coming along.
No problem.
So I think jumping straight into it, Morgan, so what was the first investment property you actually purchased?
Well, I think this probably surprised people because I technically got into property quite a few years ago.
Okay.
As probably many others, were accidental landlord.
Yeah.
My grandfather was in a little bit of financial difficulty.
Yeah.
I was still living at home with mum. I had a bit of spare income, if you like,
Course.
and I was in a position. Yeah, I was in a position to help him out. So I didn't have a clue about property at the time. Didn't have a clue what a mortgage was. Genuinely. But a good thing to do, right? So help my grandfather out, get on the property ladder.
Which makes sense, doesn't it? And all.
I saw it. The only thing I saw it as a bit of a pension pot for me.
Cool.
So a chap came to the house, a mortgage advisor. He said, right, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Ah, okay.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So are there things with that you would have done differently? Is there things? I mean, what's your first top tip?
At the time, I wouldn't have known any different really. But I would say first top tip I'd like to share with everybody is anybody looking at getting into property or property investment is just sort of get some training behind you, some sort of education. That hasn't got to be formal education. There's lots and lots on the internet, lots of books to read, magazines, podcasts, loads of really good content online. But then if you do go down the route of formal training, I really recommend coaching or mentoring as well, because I got so much from that.
Do you think you get more value from having that one-to-one relationship with someone as opposed to just reading something online maybe? Or?
I think everybody's different, but I certainly did, because there's quite a lot of expensive mistakes to make out in property. So you don't really want to go out and make them yourself. You might need to find somebody who's been there and done it and probably made
learn from their mistakes.
Learn from those mistakes. Before you go out and make your own, basically.
No, that makes sense. Because someone as a newbie investor, good starting point is obviously the internet, and then obviously looking for courses. Again, I think you mentioned sort of keeping it locally as well. There's plenty of courses in the hotels around here, the village, to property investment network and all that sort of stuff.
So there's local meetings. One here in Swansea, it's held in the Village Hotel. Property Investors Network. I think if you go to Property Investors Network / Swansea, I think, or meeting in Swansea, or I'll put a comment below, the link below. But loads and loads of experienced investors there are all willing to help. That's a good thing about property as well. There's a lot. It's not like other businesses where it's like sort of knowledge is power kind of thing. People do generally like to share in property and like to help.
The more community as well.
It's good.
Great. So next step, what do you recommend? Next one, go. No pressure.
Training, I'd probably say then.
I think strategy is important.
Strategy is definitely important. That's probably a good one to go with next. When people sort of contact me and say, "Oh look, let me know a little bit about what you're doing," or "I want to find more about property investment," well, this is where the training comes into it. So you can have just a general bit of knowledge about all the different strategies and different aspects of property, and then what I say then on strategy wise, well, what do you want to get out of it? What's your long-term goal? And then work yourself backwards from that. So if your long-term goal is to build a large pension, you may enjoy your job and enjoy what you do, but haven't got much of a pension going on at the moment. Well, you can buy a couple of buy-to-lets that aren't going to generate massive cash flow. But they're there as a pension pot.
Yeah, of course.
So that will steer you in a way of potentially buy-to-lets. If you're looking at something that's going to generate lots of cash, you could look at the HMO side of it then. So start with the end goal and work your way back to see, right, okay, what do I need to go, or what steps do I need to take to achieve that.
Cool. I mean, I think the next top tip is probably from ourselves as an agency, where location is key as well. So again, that goes back to your strategy side of things, where if you're looking for HMO property, there's certain areas within Swansea you wouldn't think of looking because they don't exist, or very few and far between. Whereas if you're looking for HMO property, Bramil, Uplands, Port Ennell, St Thomas are very, very well known for that. So again, like you say, if you're looking for general residential, then Mansfield, Townhill, Mayhill, Mumbles, Westcott, anywhere you've got these properties there, which obviously tend to align with your objectives, as it were. So I mean, in terms of starting out, what would you advise? Say for example we picked a house in Mansfield and we're looking at residential, what would you do next to make sure you know this property is viable for you? What's your tips on that?
Your numbers, your due diligence, and your numbers basically. So the beauty of property, it's the one investment you can make where you can pretty much, if you do your due diligence well and you do your numbers well, you can pretty much know how much you're going to make before you actually, of course, dive into it. It's not obviously guaranteed. No. But so what I tend to work with is return on investment. So I know a lot of people work on yield, but yield is not quite accurate enough for me. I like to be quite accurate with it, especially when it comes to numbers. So ROI, simply put it, is your return on investment. So your annual profit divided by your initial investment, you times that by 100 to give you a percentage. So it's really easy then. Once you've done that, it's really easy then to compare deals.
Of course.
So you could be looking at a couple of different properties in potentially different areas. But you can say, right, okay, well, if I go for this one, X amount ROI here.
That makes sense. And is there a limit which you go to? We discussed this previously. When you're looking at a residential, you said some people are looking at 6% or HMOs 10 plus. Is that where you aim for, or is it? What are your thoughts on that?
It all depends on the strategy for one. So I wouldn't expect to get 15% plus from a buy to let. Of course. So if you're looking at a buy to let, 6% might be good. It depends on your strategy. It depends on the investor as well, because some investors like to recycle all their money and go again. And,
of course. It literally depends on your strategy and your objectives.
Yeah, momentum investing is great. Some other people are looking at a pension pot. So
in 20 years.
So looking at the long term. But anything 6% is I see is quite good for a
better than the bank.
For a buy to let, it's much better than your bank. But for your HMO side of it, potentially 15% plus. Again, it depends.
Depends on the circumstances. Okay, so let me give you a little situation. So I'm a youngster. I want to start buying houses, for example. I've just knocked on the estate agent's door. I see what I think is suitable. What are my options in terms of purchasing? Say, for example, you haven't got much money, or someone hasn't got a huge deposit. Are there alternative methods of purchasing for them? With little or zero money down, so to say, or?
I would say it's difficult when you're initially starting out, because obviously you've got to think of experience, you've got to think of reputation.
Of course.
So when I first started out, I had a little bit of money. It wasn't a big pot, but one thing that I learned quite quickly through education is it doesn't matter if you start off with £1,000 or £1 million pot. At some point you're going to run out of money, because deposits get swollen up, and so you've got to start sort of, if you're going to be serious in property investment, you can use other people's money. So other people's money could be mortgages. Technically that's the bank.
Most popular.
Private investors, so whether that's a angel investor who's just looking for a fixed return to get involved. Joint ventures can work really well, especially if you've got people with different skill sets.
I think joint ventures are quite good, like you say, because you get to bounce off each other in a way, and it minimises your risk. It gets another person thinking as well. So, I mean, especially someone on their own, it's quite nice to find someone that's either done it before or actually hasn't done it before, because you're both in the same boat together then, in a way, aren't you? So,
and there's also pension funds as well. So there's the potential now that I've been doing quite recently is using pension funds to invest in property.
Okay.
And basically, it looks like using this sort of saying, but it's a bit of a win-win, because you're generating cash for somebody else, or a great return, and that person potentially is getting
satisfied with what they're getting.
So initially, it's difficult, because you can imagine going to sort of somebody saying £100,000, I'll give you this amount. You need to sort of
it's trust as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of trust, but essentially, if you've got that relationship with somebody,
yeah,
if you can say that, yes, I know what I'm doing. These are the numbers. This is what it's going to generate.
Of course.
This is why it's going to generate that. This is why, So you explain it all. And
I think if you look at these points, they're all very much interlinked. And then if you get your education, you can get your strategy. Once you get your strategy, you know where to buy. Once you know where to buy, you know where to finance it, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all about minimising your risk as well, isn't it? As you said, doing the numbers and making sure that they all stack up, basically. So, cool. Next question: what's the worst property you've bought? You haven't got one of you?
I haven't got one yet.
Okay.
I haven't got one yet. I will have. But touch wood, I haven't got one yet.
What's the best property you bought?
It's not a bought one, so it's a 4-bed rent to rent.
Okay.
So that surprises people when I tell them that, because it's not very sexy, is it? People don't like. People like the bigger properties. The
40,000 bed houses.
Yeah, 4-bed student HMO here in Brynmount.
Okay, cool.
That's not far. Yeah, it's just worked really, really well. So the initial upfront refurb was next to nothing.
Yeah.
That's good. I filled it really, really easily because it's in a good location. Cash flows really, really well. I mean, so a couple more like that.
Well,
is really good. But surprisingly, it's 4-bed rent.
Good, cool. So, last question: what's the best bit of advice you've received, whether it's business related or property related?
I keep it sort of. Well, it could be for both, but when I first started off, somebody said to me, "You don't know what you don't know."
Okay.
I mean, that turned out to be one of my mentors, if you like.
Okay, fine.
And it's so true, because when you think of property, you think of buying low, refurbing.
Yeah. It's all the dreamy stuff in the basically.
Yeah, so like
stuff.
Buy it really low at auction, do it all up yourself to save money, and then sell it on, which is fun, which works.
Yeah.
But then when you look at all the other bits you can do, all the other strategies you can do, and all the ways of acquiring properties,
it's limiting your options.
You can be so creative, and it's a massive broad strategy. So
don't know what you don't know.
Broad category, I should say. So you don't know what you don't know, and that's I keep that for property and probably for business as well. But there's a lot you can learn.
That's a good point. Perfect. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. That was top 5 tips on investing for new investors. I'm Corey Ashford from Threshold Sales and Lettings. This is Morgan Roberts. Morgan, as I said, is a property investor in the South Wales area. Any questions you have surrounding the investment stuff of property, get in touch with myself or Morgan. We're more than happy to help. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon.